In the heart of Gotland, Sweden, a place steeped in the rich tapestry of history, we find ourselves at a forum hosted by EWTN, examining the deep Christian roots of Europe at the intersection of tradition and the ever-evolving story of the Catholic Church.
Why so many churches? I've already mentioned the reason for two of them, the Catholic orders. We had Dominicans, we had Franciscans, we had the Cistercian nunnery just outside the town wall. Franciscans were thrown out during the Reformation, also the Cistercians and the Dominicans. I have a theory. I think it's very easy for people to leave religious beliefs from one generation to another. But it's much more difficult to leave tradition because you want to do the same thing as your forefathers did, but we don't have the belief. We do things because we have always done it, but we don't know why.
Gotland is quite an amazing place. There is a walled city. The whole island, it's full of churches. It shows the incredible flourishment of Christianity in the Middle Ages. So Gotland Island was the best place to start this forum. There is an enormous crisis in our Christianity in Northern Europe, and especially young people are longing for something that is tradition, that is authentic. So we want to help them discover their true ancestors. The Vikings and the Varangians, the Northern Europeans, as they really were, and as they really became when they became Christians. We had, of course, Cardinal Anders from Stockholm, who is the bishop, and he's actually the first Scandinavian cardinal ever. Your Eminence, there's a lot of young people living in noisy cities and having big trouble in trying to find silence. How can they reconquer that?
I think the first thing is to realize that there is silence within ourselves. That this is a sacred temple where the Trinity lives, thanks to baptism, where there is always adoration and silence, even if on the surface there is noise. Because it's very hard to find a place without any noise whatsoever. But if we accept that inside, deep inside, there is always an interior space with silent adoration, then you have conquered.
In the Middle Ages, the common pattern of Christianization was that it was imposed by the rulers. A ruler would adopt Christianity and then would introduce it to his people. At the same time, Gotland was rather an exception. It became really a people's faith. From the beginning, through trade routes, through interactions between different peoples and areas. And I should remind that an important input to the Christianization of Gotland was made by a version of Christianity which is known as Eastern Christianity, which was, well, Byzantine Christianity, which we now call Orthodoxy. So in this sense, Gotland became really an ecumenical place where West and East met together. At that time, of course, West and East constituted one thing. There was no separation, there was no division yet.
The room we're standing in down here is the first parts of the church was built, and then 20 years ago, that part was built. And the relic I'm talking about is in this small cabinet, and it's a small drop of blood from the robe, the habit that St. John Paul wore when he was shot at St. Peter's Square. And after his death and his sainthood, they cut small pieces of the robe and selected churches all over the world. And one of these churches that was selected was this small, small church in Visby. And I think it's so amazing that world history has moved into this small church of Corpus Christi in Visby.